your prediction was not incorrect about it being a banger.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, thankfully it was a banger. My picks were horrible. I went 0 for 4. You went 3 and 1.
Yeah. 3-1? Really?
You went 3 and 1 this weekend. Yeah, no, you just continue to be on fire. So I'd say with that. Welcome back, Backmarkers Podcast, latest and greatest F1 podcast that no one really asked for. That's Ben. I'm Derek, and we're talking about the Barcelona Spanish Grand Prix because next year it's going to be in Madrid, but Barcelona will still be on the circuit. It's weird, but you move past it.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great track.
Absolutely great track. Yeah, it exceeded my expectations. That's for sure. It got caliente at the end.
Muy caliente, sí.
Muy caliente. That's the most Spanish I know.
Yo quiero.
Sure. Yep. Me gusta.
Wait, no free ads. Sorry, you should bleep that.
God, can make me do more work all the time. I know. But yeah, no, you went 3 and 1 again this weekend. Called the winner. Called the under on classified finishers, and then predicted Ferrari on the podium. Good thing you didn't specify which one because it worked out at the end there anyway. So the red team was happy. You were happy. The orange team was happy. The blue and red team not that happy after this weekend, I would say.
No, I would say very, very angry. In a fit of rage, if you will.
Oh, yeah. That was very much the driver of the day, Max Verstappen, took over the race. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody took over.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody took over.
I feel like we should start with going over the last, just the whole from Kimi going off until the end. What do you say? Can we break that down real quick? Can we start with that?
Lead on, partner. Lead on.
Awesome. So yeah, Kimi goes off with another power unit failure, which was kind of shocking because this is now 2 races in a row that Mercedes power units have just kind of went and shat their bed a little bit.
I think it's got to be number 3 or 4 of the whole season, right?
Yeah.
It's not just. I feel like they have been the most unreliable power unit, even more unreliable than the Alpine,
which is a wild thing to say. Yeah, that's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, I did not think I was going to be saying that sentence beginning.
And most of the grid is a Mercedes customer.
Yeah, so you have to wonder if they're trying to put something in the stew for their own engines or something like that. If they're turned up a little bit differently or have different engine modes, who knows?
Right. So yeah, Kimi goes off, which rip Kimi. That sucks. At first I just thought he messed up, and I was like, oh, I had to demote him from Alien Watch, but thankfully we didn't have to do that, so it all worked out that way for him. But brings out the safety car, latest safety car ever. There, I think, is what they were saying on the broadcast. And yeah, there was 10-ish laps to go, and what was already a pretty good race at that point in time from good strategy and how are they gonna do their 2 pit stops and everything like that went to just complete madness. One, McLaren pulls off a really good double stack. I thought they were going to be a little too close to be able to execute that as well as they did, but good to go there. And both go out on used soft tires. That was one thing that the commentators were very clear about. Everybody else goes on soft tires. Everybody comes in and goes onto a soft tire, except for Max Verstappen and Red Bull, who put them on a fresh set of hard tires.
That was such a frustrating decision to watch.
Yes. That whole, and from there it's where the chaos just ensues from that point in time, because you get the radio messages of Max going, what tire are we on? And they tell him, you're on hard tires. Why am I on hard tires? That's all we had left. They had, I feel like them doing that 3 stops was good up until that point when you're like,
the 3 stop was brilliant. Honestly,
yeah.
he was, I don't know if he was necessarily on for the win, but he was definitely like, if that in that scenario, if I'm on the pit wall, my thought process is, okay, we can pit for a set of hard tires that are not going to have the pace for the end of the race.
Right. Not
New
warm,
hard
not
tires.
yeah.
Or we could let Max be Max on used softs. And you got to think back to a couple of races ago. Was it, I forget the name of the track, where he kept Oscar and Lando behind for like 15, 20 laps?
Yeah.
You know, he's such a talented defensive driver that, I mean, I know what I'm putting my money on. You know, Max easily could have won the race or been on for a podium from that on.
Yeah, leave him out.
Yeah, absolutely leave him out. That was the wrong call by the Red Bull pit wall, but I think the bigger issue, and obviously you can probably agree with me here or maybe disagree. I don't know. I doubt it. Max's temper. I think he was, and I'm not trying to be one who's like, oh, he's got to watch it. You know, I'm not trying to be not trying to police that. But he really let himself get out of hand and let out his frustration on George.
Yeah. Unlucky George there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, his temper definitely took over and caused all the issues. And interesting graphic that I saw not too long ago, Max now has 11 points.
Penalty points.
Yeah. So if he gets one more, he gets a disqualification, which I didn't know what the max was like for that to happen. It's within a calendar year. It's within a calendar. It's within the year. So he loses 2 at the end of this month, so he'll drop back down to 9, assuming he doesn't pick up any more. But funny enough, the second highest with 6 points was Liam Lawson, which I just thought was amazing because we've talked about, you know, he's a little bit of the hothead too in the past here. But back to the incidents from the end of the race there. So you get Max out there questioning the hard tire already, and already starting to that's starting to boil over a little bit, right? You can see it picking up. And I watched the ESPN broadcast, and having Nico Rosberg on, like, just firmly knowing like exactly what Max was thinking in the car and commenting throughout was great insight. Because one, we've all had road rage before. It happens to the best of us. Like, you definitely get more frustrated in the car. That's just a given. But with the extra pressure of the race and not liking the decision and probably just having some general frustrations with not having the best car like he has had for the last 4 years, like, I'm sure Max is already on a little bit more of an edge going into these races already. So having that happen and then go, his tires aren't working. He's spinning all over. He's sliding all over the place. He thinks
he almost
Leclerc hits him, and he just spins on his own, which was a wild enough save. Did you see that replay?
Of him next to Leclerc?
So of him where he thinks he gets hit by Leclerc coming out of the turn. So his car is straight, almost goes a full 90 degrees, and he snaps that thing back in line. Like, that was some impressive ass driving alone, but also, like, if my car did that and I'm not hitting ice, I'd probably think someone hit me too. Yeah. But, you know, it's just wasn't the case.
Was that the clip where he was on the curb? Because he almost lost it on the curb on the restart. Okay, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, I did see that.
So yeah, that's there. So then move forward. Leclerc gets past him. And then George I think he makes minor contact with Verstappen. But again, Verstappen's thinking it's Leclerc who does it to him. And then all of a sudden on the team radio, you've got let George pass, give him the place, which I still don't fully understand what happened there with that call.
So if you, and I think even the steward said that he didn't have to give the place back. It kind of is a consequence of the stewarding and the race officiating not being just done by one guy, right? Remember Charlie Whiting from a few years ago? He was the kind of end-all, be-all race director. All right, this is how things go. This is correct. This is not correct. Calling balls and strikes, right?
Yep.
But somehow better than an umpire. In this kind of newer age, where teams are trying to not get a penalty and are trying to, you got self-policing,
Right.
and saying, give that place back, or he has to give the position back, or whatever these racing rules that I think people are starting to realize need to be more clearly defined.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to avoid a bigger penalty, like a 10-second penalty or something, for whatever other infringement. Yeah, you're laughing because I'm laughing too.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, little bit. So in the decision where Max was given the penalty, they said that he didn't have to give that position back, which I
Right.
think was really funny. And what we saw with Max, well, obviously, if you want to keep narrating.
Yeah, so from there you already have a frustrated driver who's not liking the tires. They're clearly not working. He's falling behind. He's thinking he's getting hit left and right out there. And then you have Red Bull come on the team radio. Max, please give that position back. And before you even hear Max's response, Nico just goes, "Oh, no, what? Why are you telling him this?" Like he's definitely the full driver perspective of like, leave him alone. Like, make them make that call. It's this late into the race, right? Let them try to survive out there, take home maybe fourth place. You've already just lost out on the podium. Your driver's clearly mad at you from your literal 1 minute ago conversation with him. And so Nico is just very much like, "Oh no, like what? Don't say that to him right now. Like he needs to focus out there," type of a thing. Which then leads to Max going, "What the fuck," essentially, and then give the position back. Okay, fine. I'm gonna wreck George. Like it was, and it all blows up from there, which still leads into some of the drama today on top of that as well. So, I mean, I don't think I've seen F1 commentary blow up as much in recent weeks as it has been since that whole incident happened. Because let's be honest, what a firecracker that one ended up being.
Yeah, you can say that to say the least. I mean, I think it's kind of inexcusable to see that from Max, where he deliberately rammed his car into him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the same thing about Vettel a couple years ago in Baku when he got alongside and smacked into Lewis, and it was just simple wheel-to-wheel contact. And ultimately, the penalty was just a 10-second penalty.
Right.
But yeah, that to me was a little bit too far, and probably should be looked at. I don't know. I think everybody is starting to realize that the officiating needs to be a little bit more official, rather than just kind of guesswork and, this is the precedent, and this is how he was alongside me, but my mirror was ahead of his, whatever. We need to be a little bit more clear about what the rules are, for sure.
Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, that would clear things up probably with the Red Bull not telling him shit at that point in time, which might not happen with, the incident with George might not happen then at that point in time, but that's a butterfly effect you can take a bunch of different ways. The question I want to bring up from this, so I'm coming at this more from an American fan, newer to the sport, background in NASCAR, where you see contact a lot. And that type of an incident where like you're in the corner and you kind of bump the guy out like by you or whatever, like in NASCAR, that's just not that crazy of a thing to happen. That happens relatively frequently. Like the time when it gets crazy is like when Matt Kenseth took out Joey Logano in I think it was 15 at Martinsville, where he literally just wrecks him into the wall, and then on the team radio goes, "Yeah, man, I don't know. I think something broke there." like it was an all-time clip. But the beating and banging and some of that contact, just it's not that crazy. It's just it doesn't give you the reaction as what we have been seeing from this. So I guess my question there is it crazy because the team told him let him go past, or is it truly crazy because you're just not supposed to do that in this sport?
That's a good question. I mean, I would say it's crazy because of I don't think we saw it coming. You know what I mean? I think it was kind of out of left field in terms of, expected behavior. Obviously, like I sent you a couple of clips of drivers
Right.
acting a little bit more.
Yes, the Schumacher
Yeah,
Montoya one, I think, is what you're.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. There's definitely a precedent for kind of running each other off the road and driving a little bit dirty, but there's also a precedent for staying in your lane and leaving a lot of space and driving with respect. So I mean,
Yeah.
it really, I think it kind of depends based on what era you're looking at, but
Mhm.
the nature of these cars being open wheel racers and being such sensitive with their aero work, the front wings and all that,
Mhm.
it can be equally self-penalizing
Mhm.
if you smack into somebody like that, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, rubbing is racing, but
Sure.
also, like, to what point is that going to be acceptable or allowed, And again, I think drivers should have a little bit more freedom and should be able to use common sense.
Mhm.
But I don't think in this specific scenario, Max was necessarily thinking with his head.
Oh,
Um,
definitely not. No, that was pure road rage. Just I'm
yeah.
fuming mad. It was hot race, like all of those
Mhm.
things stuck in the car. Just screw this. I'm so pissed off at all of you. George was the unlucky customer there at that point in time. I mean, still able to finish though. Like if you can give Max credit for one thing, he didn't take either of them out of the race. He just kind of hit them wheel to
This is
wheel,
true.
and they
And
were able to keep on
Nick,
moving. But this
Nico
isn't the
Rosberg
first time.
certainly doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, Nico was saying on the commentary how unexcusable that was for Max to do that as well. So that was very
Yeah.
fun. But I think the other part of this was oh, the train just left the station on me. Um yeah, train left the station. I don't know. It's gonna come back to me in a second. But
You
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
stole that from me from yesterday, but all right,
yeah,
I'll let
that's where I'm getting that from now. That's definitely a stolen phrase from you here. So, but yeah, I mean, just eh, wild, definitely unexpected for sure is the way to describe that because it's oh, I remember the train just came back in. This isn't the first time Max has done something like this though. Remember in 21, he was supposed to let Lewis go by and he brakes checks him on the straight and Lewis runs into him. Well, he ran into me. So part of this is kind of just like a trend for just who he is as a driver and his driver style at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, and in your comment about his driving style, his driving style has really shaped the rules for this era in terms of like, oh, I was alongside, that's my corner, or whatever. It's like, all right, are we serious here? Um, so I think he's a little bit trying to play both sides of it,
Hmm.
which you got to give it to him. You got to respect. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
win at any cost, but
You
you
want to
got to
talk
have
about doing whatever it takes to win a championship. He does whatever it takes to win a championship every single race
exactly,
while he's out there. Yeah.
exactly. Um, but yeah, I don't think that I don't know. I don't think that this is really going to be productive as long as the rules are still in place as they are.
Hmm.
So until we get some sort of oversight or some sort of like clear, concise um, terms and conditions,
Hmm.
it's not really going to change. It's going to be whoever's the boldest, whoever's the loudest, and whoever can appeal to the most people, and whoever's in the stewarding room is
Hmm.
is ultimately going to win out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what fireworks? Again, what was already a really good race turned into. Ooh, is this the best race of the season so far? What do you think?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, Japan was pretty good.
So good. I think Monaco was really good then too.
Okay, all right. That's enough out of you. Um, yeah, I'd say it's up there. It's in the conversation.
Hmm.
Let's see how the rest of the races shake out. I was trying to think which one was. Is it China? Yeah, China was really good.
Mm,
So I
what
don't
is
know.
that one? Oh yeah, that was a George podium one. Oh yeah. That was a good one. That might have been Williams' first
Double
double
points.
points as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, Lance was in the top 10. Yeah, that was a good one.
I was just
But
thinking about Japan because of the white Honda. Anytime we get the white Red Bull Honda, that just makes me happy. And I love that track. So I mean,
mhm.
I'm a little bit biased, but yeah,
It
I don't know.
was
It's
we
it's
did title it
definitely
the
a contender.
Japanese Grand Prix though, so
I remember that now, but I just think about that white Honda car and just have rose-colored glasses that I look
fair enough.
through the event with.
Hey, as long as we admit it, then that's all that really matters. So
No, and I appreciate you calling me out for my consistency because I was the one that fell asleep during that race. So
yes.
it would be improper.
Quite all right. But yeah, that was fun. I mean, so Max, yeah, he gets the 10-second point or penalty, still finishes in the points at 10th. Is he the first driver to finish 10th and win driver of the day?
No,
No?
no, because I mean I think we've had people lower than 10th win driver of the day. I don't know. I'd have to come up with a specific example. But I think some people put my cousin Lance Stroll as driver of the day, just like as a meme,
Yeah.
which honestly really funny.
It's like Mitch
Um,
Trubisky winning the Nickelodeon MVP in the Bears playoff game that they lost.
yeah, yeah. Or there was another one. Remember, fucking. I don't think it was. I don't think it was Mazepin. They knew, like
That's a
everybody
spin.
knew it was going to be his last race because he was just absolute hot garbage the entire year. It
Hmm.
was not Mazepin, but it was somebody who was equally as terrible.
Hmm.
And they voted him driver of the day for the last race just as a meme. And that was iconic. That was
Fair.
great. That was a good day to be on the internet.
Did Danny Rick get driver of the day in his last race last season? I know he got
Mm,
fastest lap. They let him go out and do that at
possibly,
least, but I couldn't remember if he got the
possibly,
votes for that either.
possibly.
Beats me.
That driver of the day is not really a statistic I pay attention to, but
Oh,
it
not at
also
all. It's
could be
just funny.
argued. Yeah, it also could be argued that I don't pay attention to the races because I thought Japan this year was good. So I wouldn't take my word on anything, Derek.
Well, I would when it comes to your picks. You'd be up a lot of units if you're tailing Ben right now. So,
Well, oh, fuck, tell me where to bet these things, and then remind me of what I bet so I can actually put money on it.
oh, you have not been paying attention to our socials then because we post all of our picks and then we update our picks record after the races too. So,
I'm going to check it
TikTok
right now.
TikTok's getting our biggest traction on there. But we also post on Instagram and X, the Everything app. Everything happens on X.
It's still Twitter. We also have an email that nobody has sent us an email to. It is backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com.
Hmm.
I was checking that momentarily to make sure that we still didn't have any emails. So if we got something wrong, please send us a message. And no, we didn't. But yeah, maybe we'll agree with you. I don't know.
Oh, I will give a quick shout out here. So on I posted our results from the weekend today, and Easy is the name on simply underscore Easy. Looks like they post a lot of soccer edits, but commented Ben knows tire with 3 100 emojis after you went 3-1 this weekend and 15-8 overall in the season. So
Yeah, we know
Easy,
tire. We
you
know
are
wheel.
correct.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yes. So yeah, you pick our race winner, Oscar, classified finishers, and then yeah, the bonus of Ferrari on podium there for another good weekend on that. So what do you say we get into the rest of the race and our results here?
Let's go for it. I mean, you covered the three most important things, three things I was right about.
I think that's a good point for sure, for sure. So we had a very, very, very probably calm, nice, easy race for Oscar at the front again. Started on pole, breezed away pretty quickly, and just never really had any hesitations. Probably had a nice, cool Australian day out there for him.
Yeah, he's cruising.
So was cruising. So very much the opposite from once you go down the rest of the order here with the craziness that ended up ensuing throughout the whole 20 drivers here. Um, Lando looks like he messed it up again because he lost it off the start again. Does battle back to
Yeah,
come home second, relatively easy second at the end of the day.
that was also because of the safety car help. I mean, I think if he had to try and get around Max again,
Hmm.
it would have been a third place or a fourth place for him.
Potentially
And
there.
I don't think, and obviously we saw him go back to his old habits of losing a position on the start lap. And then his body language at the end of the
Yeah,
race as they were finishing the celebrations. I mean, everybody kept their helmet on, but you could just kind of tell that he was not
just not
feeling good
happy.
about where he was. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely. I mean, it continued once again, just losing out another to the teammate there when, again, he was I would say he was arguably the projected favorite going into this season. No, he was.
yeah, he
If you
was
looked at the odd
by
lots,
a
he was the
country
favorite
mile.
going into
He
it.
was the favorite, absolutely. But
Hmm.
I are you ready to say that that Lando's not that guy yet?
I'm getting real close. I really am. I've thought about that a lot, mainly because I'm just sick and tired of losing money on this guy. Uh,
Why are you not tailing
I
me?
know. You know what? Sometimes you just need to step up and say, you know what, you need to fade yourself, and it's okay. So, we'll see how the next race goes. We got a week off here to reset, go back into the lab, and look at the tape and refigure some things out here. But yeah, it's getting a little frustrating. I mean, how is it that he continues to lose places off the starts? Like, is there like it happens enough that it's nicknamed a thing at this point in time.
Yeah, yeah.
How
You
do you
can't say it's
correct
not a
that?
trend. You get better.
Wow,
I mean, it's a
that's
skill issue, and not to be too harsh. I mean, I think it legitimately at the end of the day is a skill issue. If you're going to be one of the best drivers in the world, you should know how to get your
get
first
off the
lap in
line.
and not have any problems, not be overtaken by anybody, much less your teammate. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
unfortunately, got to chalk
yeah.
it up to it being a skill issue.
Might have to be. It's because I mean that it puts you behind, and once you're behind on that, you wear through your tires quicker trying to get around. Because he's very clearly in the best car, and while he does falter at the beginning there, he is getting around people that he should be getting around, just in a longer fashion. But it ruins the rest of his race. It doesn't give him a chance to compete for those race wins and really challenge Piastri in a lot of these efforts now, despite having won a couple of them already. But yeah, just. I'm getting close, Ben. I really am. I know I said 20 points after Britain, but geez, it might be sooner. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on that.
It's still gonna be a long season. I mean,
Yeah,
this was what this was like round 9
this was
of the
round
championship.
round 9. Yes, this was round 9. So
Yeah,
a ton of races
24
left
race
still.
season. There's still some room to go, and obviously we saw
Yeah.
some people have a little bit of a better handle in their car in
Hmm.
Ferrari. Um, so there's still room for other challenges down the rest of the race order,
Hmm.
and obviously Max, unless he gets some more penalty points and crashes other people out of races and gets more penalties, I don't think he's not in the conversation for second place. But
Yeah.
I still think Oscar's gonna win it. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I mean, it's very much, yeah, his to lose at this point in time. Although it is, I mean, he only has a 10 point gap on Lando, so it still could be his. But yeah, just the way all these races have been going, it just does not feel like that's going to happen at this point in time, for sure. So, but yeah, fun weekend for Ferrari. Well, sort of fun weekend for Ferrari. Question mark at the end in one of those situations, but Leclerc comes home with the podium. Um, very good drive out of him, but then you have Lewis finishing, getting passed by Nico Hulkenberg in a kick Sauber.
The thing that makes me angriest about that is we have to talk about what a great weekend the Kick Albers had.
Fantastic weekend out of them. I mean,
Yeah,
after
it
they get
sucks.
to fifth after the penalty to Max there, he takes 10 points home for kick. Bortoleto ran his first laps in the top 10.
Mhm.
in the entire season. He finishes 12th, which is pretty respectable for that team.
Is
But I
that
mean,
that's after the penalty though, right? To Max?
Bortoleto was not affected. Max finished 10th
Gotcha.
after the penalty, so he
Okay.
just finished 12th, but still ran in the top 10 for a handful of laps there. First time in his career in F1 doing that. Nico is such a good driver. It is insane that he's not had a podium once in his career in F1. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't know if good's the word we're using, but consistent. He's decent.
He's a good driver. I mean,
Yeah,
he took Haas
he's
to
better than
where they were
Lawson.
last year, and that was after he was arguably done in the sport altogether. He
Mhm.
passes Lewis in the last closing laps here in a kick, and he finishes fifth.
It's a
Like,
Sauber. We're still calling it Sauber. This
we'll
is
call
the
it Sauber
last
for
year
this
of them
race,
being Sauber. We need to continue to call them Sauber.
unless they finish 19th and 20th, then they're kick, right?
No, they're still
They're
Sauber.
still Sauber.
They're
Okay.
still Sauber. I'm sorry. I am happy for the gambling company, but
Hmm.
that's a historic team at this point. They've been around
Yeah.
for 25 plus years. So
True. That is true. But so yeah, back to Ferrari though. You have the good and then you have the weird question at the end there. And it's, I mean, I I don't recall. I was looking back through my notes. I don't think it's like Lewis was having like a terrible time out there, was he?
I don't think so. I
Hmm.
mean, I think he
I even
was.
wrote down good start for Ferrari. That's right, because him and Leclerc got around both the Mercedes and were running up there,
Mhm.
fifth, fourth and fifth.
Yeah, I think he was disappointed because he expects better from himself.
Hmm.
And obviously, it sucks to see your teammate on the podium and not be up there yourself. So,
Sure.
um, from that perspective, I could understand why he was a little bit down on it. But at the same time, I'm still wanting to give him a little bit more time. I still
Hmm.
want him to get settled and get used to the environment and everything and get a better connection with his engineers. And I don't think,
You heard
yeah,
more of that on the team radio this weekend too.
yeah,
Did you
I don't
catch
think
that?
I caught a little bit of it. I don't think he was necessarily the happiest with how that was going in some of the
Hmm.
strategy decisions. So again, that's kind of been the weak point of that team.
Very much so. Yes, yes, it definitely has. But again, they're still taking that step in the right direction. I mean, we've had a big shakeup here in just regards to um the standings overall from a constructor standpoint. You've got I think Ferrari jumps up to second place. They did. Ferrari
Mm-hmm.
jumps up to second place, leapfrogging Mercedes and Red Bull after the weekend. So I
Ooh,
mean, yeah, they had a good weekend here. I mean, Antonelli not being in any point total didn't help them. Russell obviously with the fourth place finish takes home a good haul of points for Mercedes, but Ferrari had two teams, they have two guys in the top 10 podium, and then a good minor total for sixth place there. So yeah, they're trending in the right direction. If you're looking at it in terms of soccer stuff, they have the trending upward fire emoji arrows type of thing in terms of their
yeah.
form going on right now, which is fun. So, but still a little bit of some Ferrari-ness there that they have to work out, but good to see that they're kind of figuring it out and
Oh, yeah.
we're getting some of that back and forth here in terms of the competition for second place in the constructors at least.
And that's really what it is. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody's competing for second place and for that points money. I don't think anybody has any illusions that they're going to catch McLaren this year,
Hmm.
especially with the regulation change coming up. So we'll
Right.
see how it goes.
Exactly. So moving along, we talked a little bit about Mercedes already. George coming in fourth, obviously with the fireworks. With Max there, with that being started by Kimi going off the track.
Yeah,
Um,
Kimi started the fireworks.
Kimi started the fireworks, and that was the spark. So that lit it, and then the explosion ended with George.
I would say the explosion ended with his engine, but teach their own.
No, I'm just talking about like the whole thing. Yes, the
Yeah,
engine truly did explode. So that would be the final point there. But
been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Sorry, bud.
very much so. Hajar with yet another great performance here.
Fucking
Um,
awesome
Finishes
performance.
seventh for Racing Bulls. They move up in the points totals. I believe they overtook Haas this weekend because Haas had an absolute dog shit outing. But Hadjar, I mean, crushing it. He is very much in that grouping of the rookies of like cut above the rest right now.
Yeah, and I think he's definitely been the best of that rookie crop. Obviously, Antonelli is on alien watch. Do we need to have a conversation about Isaac Hadjar possibly being an alien?
Possibly. He's getting close to it. I would say out of if you're going to separate Antonelli from the group, Hadjar is that next best rookie here for you. And I think
Yeah.
part of the problem with comparing Hadjar to Antonelli at this point is the difference in the machinery. You know, Antonelli, while doing well with the machinery, it's not like he's underperforming. I think it's hard to know if he is overperforming a little bit though, just because
Mhm.
he is in the Mercedes. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't think he's beaten George in anything,
No.
any race in any qualifying so far. At the very least, he's right next to him, which is a good sign. But again, you don't really know how if there's an overperformance there, where very clearly Hadjar is outperforming, I think, the machinery with the Racing Bulls.
Yeah. No, absolutely outperforming it, but we'll just have to see, how the rest of the championship and everything shakes out. I would love out of Antonelli to see him get a podium this year.
Hmm.
I think Hadjar was he fifth
Hadjar came
or
in
was he
seventh this weekend.
seventh?
Yep.
Okay, I think he could. I think a good result for him. Obviously, he's had great results, and we're kind of keeping an eye on is he that next guy? If
Hmm.
he gets up to fifth, I think that's in the cards for him with how he's been performing.
Very much.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's also something we could maybe keep an alien watch out for.
For Hadjar. We'll put him on deck for Alien Watch. How about that? On
Yeah,
deck.
on deck or
Next man
I'm
up.
trying I'm trying to come. He's got his communicator. He's about to say, "Beam me up, Scotty."
Yes.
That's what we'll go with. He's.
Did you
I
see
feel like
the
there's a better Star Trek and a reference in there, but we'll see.
very possible. Did you see the meme I sent you about Hadjar on Saturday?
Let's see.
It's the cartoon Terminator walking around the corner with
Okay.
the little girl under the desk, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
promotion to the second Red Bull seat, Hadjar crying.
No, and that's been like a career. I don't want to say a career ender because I like I said, hope Yuki finds his way out of the Red Bull system.
Yeah,
But I don't.
it's gonna just happen naturally at the end of this season if this pace continues for him.
But I think it's you, like we were talking about, and like we've said throughout the existence of this program for certain. Um, we really can't judge that second Red Bull seat because the car is so fucked. So I think that hoping for good results in and out is the
Hmm.
best that we can hope for. And obviously hope that Yuki signs a contract somewhere the fuck else. So
Yeah, because the 10th place finishes are only gonna last him so long in the Red Bull system, but also it's do you even think he'd want to be there? Again, it's like the catch 22
no,
of you're with the top performing team, but it's your Max's teammate.
yeah,
That's
no,
that's
and
tough.
and and Max is always going to outdrive the car, like we kind of talked about.
Hmm.
10th is probably the best that we can expect anybody to do, other than when they have a race where Max is going to be in contention for a win. So, and didn't he
I don't
start
think
in
10th
last,
is
or where did he start?
yeah, he qualified P20 this weekend.
Coming up 10 places is nothing to sneeze at.
Yuki finished 17th,
Fuck, never mind.
and that's with three guys being out. So one of them didn't race, so he was already up a position already. Hope
All right.
Lance gets
You're
better.
just
And
pouring salt
then
in the wound at this point.
oh Jesus, I'm looking at the wrong weekend. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Recollects this.
He did better than 17th.
He finished 13th. Sorry, I was looking at Monaco last week. He ends up in 13th here. Apologies, I was looking at the wrong standings. So, I mean, yeah, he moved up, but at the same, the Red Bull is not a great car, but that should still be a consistent top 10 performer getting into Q3s, and realistically, they should be at the very least 6th and 7th is what they should be going for out of that, I would say.
And I think he might get there later in the season. I don't know. And then the other thing to factor is, have they been on an alternate strategy to get data for Max? You know, have they, what's the team doing? It's kind of like preseason testing. We don't know what their objectives are of the laps that they do. So who's to really say what exactly something means or if it means anything at all? Yeah. So that's my Yuki defense that we're going to get from there.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you want to talk about the other Racing Bull now or later with Liam Lawson? Because Liam Lawson had a miraculous Liam Lawson weekend. I mean, three separate times made contact with somebody else, twice with Behrman. Somehow the car wasn't destroyed, and he ends up in 11th. Like,
a miraculous Lawson weekend is a very diplomatic way to put that. Well done.
I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, the racecraft was also crazy too, because in this first attempt to overtake Behrman, he ended up losing out in the position because Norris and Verstappen were coming through. So he gets blue flagged. Eventually gets around Behrman on the next lap because, well, he should have. The Haas is terrible right now. But dear God, I mean, what did Red Bull basically just see that, hey, this dude's a firecracker, maybe he'll be like Max, and that's why they ended up with putting him in the Red Bull seat? I mean, that's at this point, that's the only thing I can really take away from why he was even there in the beginning of the season.
No, I mean, I think obviously I've voiced my opinions on Tsunoda. We know I'm a little bit of a Tsunoda fan, but also I've voiced my opinions on Dr. Helmut Marko. And maybe he had some ulterior motives or different thinking for why Yuki wouldn't be that guy. And that's all I'm going to say, in hopes that he is not super litigious.
Something tells me he probably is.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not out and out saying that he's maybe
the things you want to say.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I am most decidedly not saying that. But look up if you're curious, Helmut Marko racist. See for yourself. I don't know, but I'm not saying that.
Others have said that. The conversation has already been debated by others.
It's out there in the zeitgeist. It's not me. But I think, there's a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a little bit of a memory hole in Formula One. Lawson comes in, he replaces Ricciardo with the broken hand, and he does a good job. And everybody is kind of like, oh yeah, he did a good job.
Guy.
Look at this guy. You know what I mean? And then the next half season that he gets is not as good. They switch him out, but maybe he's still got potential because it was unfair for him to lose his seat after half a season. Yada yada yada. However they want to explain it out. I don't think there was necessarily any other choice from the Red Bull group. Obviously, with Hadjar being an untested quantity or an unknown quantity, and then Arvin Lindblad, the other guy who's coming through the Red Bull Junior program, not being able to have a super license at the beginning of the year. So I think that would be there's a little bit of memory bias for sure, but there's also a little bit like, okay, this was the next guy we could take. Let's see what we got, because we clearly don't believe in the guy who has been the most consistent for longest, and
out of that
we still keep passing up for whatever reason. Yeah.
Fun stuff. But the Racing Bulls car has been looking better with these Hadjar performances. And
better than the second Red Bull seat.
Way better than the second Red Bull seat, that's for sure. So good weekend from them. Again, they move up in the standings too. And then the rest of the points are also just, I didn't expect this at all. Pierre in eighth. Great for Alpine. Nice race there. Um, Speaking of, did he really get a fair shake? And, did he could he have some of that magic? Colapinto with another kind of just disappointing drive this weekend again here. Um, Again, I don't know how much of that is. It's just an Alpine. Somehow Pierre has done it again this season where, wow, look at that. He's gotten them into the points, maybe just showing more of who he is as a driver rather than the machinery that is, he's handcuffed to.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. With that Alpine situation,
Mm-hmm.
is it that one guy is maybe not that good, or the other guy is really good?
Mm-hmm.
Gasly, I think, has a decent career ahead of him as a solid midfield driver.
Mm-hmm.
And, other than his excursion with the Red Bull team that spits up and chews people up and spits them out,
Yep.
he's not been that bad.
No.
So I think that's also the context of the conversation, but I never really expected Colapinto to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really expect for him to stun and amaze anybody.
Yeah.
But if he does, I mean, hey, more power to him,
Right. But to the same point, it's like you replace Doom with this guy, and there's literally been no difference whatsoever. Although they did say that Colapinto could very easily still be replaced again, and they
There
could go back
is
to
a
it.
difference, Derek.
Well, sure, but the
There's a
Alpine
very
team has also now
large
said that they
difference
could
with a
they
lot
could
of
quickly go back to
zeros.
doing. So
Yeah, and I don't think that you're going to get anything productive out of him if you put him into the spot. You know what I mean? Just juggling a driver and being like, oh, hey, let's see if a fucking chimpanzee that wears a diaper can do this race seat. It's like, oh yeah, let's put a bunch of monkeys in a room with enough typewriters. Eventually, they will write Shakespeare.
maybe
That's not the case.
maybe Flavio
Um,
wants to try driving for a race.
I do. I would love to see him get into a car.
I
I
I
would
don't
love to see him sit in one of the cars.
I don't think physically he could last the duration of the
Oh,
race for them.
absolutely not. But I think I see. I think he's a little Ozempic up. I think he's
Really?
because I remember him being a little bit bigger. Not that
Mm-hmm.
this is a podcast that is accepting of all shapes and sizes and loves everybody for who they are,
Yeah.
but also like he definitely took some some
Big
slimmers.
O. He was on the Big O for a little bit, slimming
I don't
down.
think we should call it that. I
The
think we
Big
should call
O?
it anything but that.
I think it's a good name for
Oh
it.
God, what a horrible day to have ears. Okay. Can we
So
talk about Alonso being in the points yet?
you read my mind.
Thank
Fernando
God.
Alonso, after we were just talking about how I don't know if this could happen this year for him. Awesome race, home race. Going further to that discussion that we were having of
See,
better, do you show up for your home race or
you were
not?
right on that one, Derek. You
Well,
can be 1 for 5 this year
I
for
don't know
this
about
this
that
wow.
because we did have the other Spaniard having a miserable race weekend this weekend. So
We can have confirmation bias. This is not
fair
a
enough.
scientifically accurate program.
True. So yeah, you know what? Home races, drivers show up, especially when your name is Fernando Alonso.
Fernando.
Great drive from him. He earlier in the race too. He had a fun little battle with Nico, back and forth, 4 points positions there too. That was cool to see. So you definitely, it's not like he just lucked into something at the end. He very much was having a strong drive and a strong weekend here, and takes home. I mean, he ended up at ninth because of the max penalty, so he takes home 2 points for himself, not just one.
That's why I said points instead of point.
Yes.
Yep. He's still that guy. He's still I don't know if Aston Martin gets the new regulations knocked out of the park. I would love to see Fernando on the podium again. I would do just about anything to see Fernando get a win again. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that again, neither you or I have seen him actually win a race like presently.
Yeah.
That would be very fun to see. Would he then be the oldest driver to win a race too?
I don't believe so. If we're going back all the way to the 50s, I believe that there were some. I believe the oldest gentleman to ever win a race was in his 50s back in the early days of Grand Prix racing. We'll have to look at the record books. If you know this, listener, send us an email, backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com, and let us know what the answer is while Derek looks it up on his phone.
I'm going to do it real quick. Yes. Right. But you like, comment, subscribe, let us know in the down below too what you think, or if you don't know this one.
Correct us in the comments. To be clear, the comments are not for correcting us. That's what the email's for. The comments are specifically so that you can give us praise. Tell us how much you love us.
2 stars to you, my good friend.
Only 2? Fuck you mean only 2? 5 minimum.
Fine. 5 stars to you, good friend.
Thank you.
The oldest driver to win an F1 race is Luigi Fagioli. I'm not going to be canceled for saying that name wrong. Who was 53 years and 22 days old when he won the 1951 French Grand Prix. He was victorious in a shared drive with teammate Juan Manuel Fangio. This win marked the end of the winner's F1 career, though, too. So there you go. Oh, this is a fun little top 5 oldest drivers to win a race. Wow. Oh, he is not the oldest. Okay, that was wrong. This is from F1.com. As of April 28th, 2024, staff writer Mike Seymour wrote this. So this is the correct.
Brilliant job citing your sources, Derek.
I want to make sure people know I'm not just Wikipedia in this one. So what I just said was wrong. Apologies on that.
He clicked the link that Wikipedia cited.
Luigi is the 4th oldest driver. Do you want the 5th oldest driver? Because we might as well just continue on some of the questionable trends. Adolf Brutus from Germany of 1952. Let's see. The 3rd oldest driver is Arthur Legat, 54 years and 232 days old, won Belgium 1953. 2nd oldest was Philippe Etanceline. I don't know how to say his name.
Of course.
55 years and 191 days old, won the French Grand Prix in 1952. And your oldest driver to win was Louis Chiron, who was 55 years and 292 days old, won Monaco in 1955.
There we go.
So there you go. All in the 50s, just like you said. So you know what? I'm going to give you 10 stars because they were all from the 50s. They were all in their 50s. It was, golden birthdays basically at that point in time. 50 in the 50s was hot.
We love it. We love it.
Yes. So shout out Fernando Alonso for getting some points. We'd love to see you win again.
Yes. Nothing would bring me greater joy.
Mm-hmm. Moving down the rest of the list, we pretty much have not talked about Williams and Haas. And not really much to say there. Williams a very disappointing race. Albon doesn't even finish. Carlos just didn't look like he was comfortable at all out there this whole weekend, which upsetting for your home race.
Yeah, he's not been comfortable in that car all season. You can't really blame him.
You can see that like he's gotten close at times. Like very early, he was racing with Hamilton a couple of times on some of those early races for position, obviously losing out at the end of it. But at the beginning with Williams showing that pace right away, being the best of the rest at that point, getting close. I forget what happened to Albon. What happened to him? Why didn't he finish?
Didn't he have a mechanical failure?
Yes, he did. Because they pitted him to serve the penalty, so he wouldn't have to serve it for the next race.
And at that point, is that a mechanical failure, or did you just smack into somebody and you're just kind of pissed off and done? Which seemed like the energy that they were giving off.
Either way, it's not like they had a car that was going to do anything anyway. So I guess somewhat understandable there at that time. And then. I don't have much more to say on Williams, really. And then Haas was 16th and 17th, finishing the race. Well done. Good job.
They finished the race.
They finished the race. Ferrari power units are doing well.
Yeah.
I think that's what you can say about that.
To completion.
Well, pause.
All right. Well, that was our
That
Barcelona
was
recap.
an awesome race.
That
That
was,
was
yeah,
an
it was a good
awesome
race.
hmm Very
Better than
fun.
Japan, to be clear.
Very much a better race than Japan for sure. But that was not the only racing that did happen this weekend.
No, what should we say about the racing that we saw this weekend?
The
Live
racing.
and in person, baby.
Yes, the Detroit Grand Prix was this weekend, racing through the streets of Detroit, the longest straightaway on the IndyCar calendar. Not the fastest one though. Indianapolis still holds that, but we
How does
saw.
it feel to go back to back with IndyCar weekends?
Dude, that was awesome. So it's cool too because you get the oval with a different car setup to now a street race with a different car setup and different driving styles there. So you could definitely see like which drivers prefer which tracks. Like Joseph Newgarden, for example, good Indianapolis Motor Speedway driver. He was prior to this year the back-to-back winner there. He started on the last row this season and finishes in the top 10. So like he was very fun to watch at Indianapolis. But then here in Detroit, just you could tell streets just might not be his thing, basically. Didn't qualify well, start kind of was in the middle, finishes kind of in the middle too. So um the race overall though, the racing for Indy is a lot different from racing in Formula One by a long stretch. It almost, in my opinion, it almost mimics NASCAR a little bit more than it does like an open wheel series. That's for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
But what did you think of the racing that we saw out of the Indy cars?
Out of the IndyCars specifically, I thought it was entertaining. As somebody who is not as much of an Indy fan, it made me want to get into it,
Hmm.
especially being there. Hearing the sound of the motors was absolutely incredible. The sound of the cars and everything. Um, yeah, definitely unforgettable. Definitely glad that we were there together
Hmm.
and on that adventure. But yeah, it was a little bit hard to keep track of who was who and who was where and what was what.
Yeah,
Um, but it was still, the excitement of being there is nothing to sneeze at, and there's no substitute for it. So
very much.
um, yeah, I was very very happy and a little bit disappointed by how my team did. Uh, in coming last and second to last, I think, or
Prema?
no, RLL.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, they had a rough race. They did not have
Yeah,
much going on there.
it was tough. It was
Um,
exciting seeing Ray Hall in second for a little bit, but then the pit
mhm.
stop
Yeah,
snafu
he had
was
such
disappointing.
bad luck on that tire. Like they
Yeah,
were banging on that thing trying to get that wheel off. That was
yeah.
crazy.
When in doubt, use a hammer, but it didn't
Jeremy
really seem
Clarkson
to.
taught us that. The
Yeah,
hammer fixes everything.
ah,
But the other cool part about Detroit with the street circuit, you were standing right on top of the track
yeah.
at
I could have touched
multiple
one of those
points
cars.
very easily. Would have busted your hand, but you definitely could have touched it.
Oh, I would have gotten tased first. Don't worry.
Well, or pink splatter, one or the other.
Yeah, no middle ground. But
No
no,
middle.
it was definitely awesome to be that close. Honestly, I enjoyed the endurance racing a little bit more than
Okay.
IndyCar. Hearing the Cadillac and the Aston
Oh,
Martin in the endurance championship,
two
those
of the
hypercars
best
are
sounds.
insane. Oh my goodness, absolutely insane. And then what was so crazy is they'd be on the first or second lap, you'd hear those hypercars go past, and then wait, wait, vroom, there goes the Mustang. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was awesome. It was cool to see Ford get a win at their home
Mhm.
track. Um, but yeah, the Saturday excitement of uh, the support race in the
Mhm.
endurance championship just has me even more hyped for Le Mans than I normally am. So
Yeah. And I've never really tuned in for Le Mans before. I paid the most attention when NASCAR had the G56 car, which
yes,
one
that
of
was
just
awesome.
That was so cool. That was
It
so
was
cool.
so
That
fucking
one,
cool.
they had an awesome race, just generally
They
speaking.
won because they were in their own class, but
Well, yeah, they weren't classified in anything, but like their car performed so much better than what the Le Mans like people were thinking they were going to perform that they made that car start ahead of those GT3 cars because they were like, you might actually get in their way of their race because your car is actually way better. We didn't think NASCAR could do this. Apologies, NASCAR, like is what
yeah,
the Le Mans people were saying, but yeah, I mean the seeing like the Mustang drive through like when they were caught in between some of that hypercar stuff, it just showed me a little bit of like how big the NASCAR must have appeared to those because I've seen the
yeah,
picture where they're all lined up and it's just
and the
well spot I wonder if you
it's
could spot this one out of the crowd, right?
basically a truck. Yeah,
Yeah, next to it. So that was very cool to see just the differences like that. And I've never watched anything like that. So seeing both of those series on the track at the same time was just wild to be like, how do you navigate this type of stuff? You know, that was very fun.
yeah, no, and that honestly was the highlight of the weekend for me. Like I said,
Mhm.
and I cannot wait to watch the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I'm so excited.
When
So,
is that? And how
uh,
do you watch it?
well, I watch everything on the high seas. To be
Mm,
clear,
fair
that's
enough.
that's the way to watch anything. But also, yeah, I think it's aired on broadcast TV as well. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
definitely, like, you don't have to commit to watching the full thing. I
Well,
always loved,
I'll tell you what,
even though you
I'm not
should.
one to pull 24-hour all-nighters anymore. I never was in the beginning, so I'm definitely not watching all this thing.
No, for sure. See, I was always a night owl, so what was cool is, and obviously with the time difference, because it takes
Mhm.
place. I don't know if you know this, Derek. It takes place in France.
Yes,
Um,
I am
but
cultured enough for that.
okay, just not sure because it was very much a shock to me.
It's called
Um,
Le Mans. I think that's pretty French.
I thought it was
Layman's.
Australian. Um, jokes aside, I loved watching because I'm definitely more of a night owl. I would
Mhm.
always watch later into the night and watch the cars come up at dawn and at sunrise.
Okay.
And it is definitely one of my life goals to attend the 24 Hours of Le Mans at some point in my life,
Mhm.
um, as well as the thing that we have to hype,
Yes,
the Isle
you
of
actually
Man
have to do
TT.
we have to do like an explain it to Derek type of a thing because you talked to me about this, you sent me some stuff to look at and I've watched the videos. What is this?
The Isle of Man TT is the fastest, most deadliest race in the world.
Dear
Most
oh,
deadliest? Did I really
what
say
a
that?
start.
Ew. Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. It's scary. And obviously, the most important part of racing is that everybody comes home safe. But this is one of those races where they're like, yeah, not everybody's going to come home safe.
Gotcha.
Um, Basically, performance superbikes, motorcycles, they shut down the streets of the Isle of Man, which is an island between England and Ireland. And they race on the road course all around the entire island. I think it's a 24-mile circuit that they do, and they go speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour consistently. Yeah,
Wow.
it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely glorious, and it's the most incredible bit of racing in the world. Um, and yeah, I my dad was into it, and he got me into it when I was a kid. And those are just good memories associated with watching it and seeing how fast these bikes go, and hearing about like there are a couple of families um, that their whole family raced into it.
Mhm.
You know, and the guys like John McGinnis is the only guy whose name is coming to me right now, but he has been a multiple time winner. And he is the Michael Schumacher of Superbike Championship racing and time trial racing, you know? MotoGP, which is another motorcycle racing, basically the motorcycle equivalent of Formula One,
Mhm.
doesn't go there anymore because it's too crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's awesome. It'll be awesome. We should definitely do a deep dive hype episode
Mm-hmm.
or a segment at the very least for the Isle of Man.
Sure.
Which is, I think it's going on now, or at least practice is starting this week. So
Okay.
we'll have to keep our finger on the pulse of that.
Yeah, we can definitely touch on that as that race. Is it like one day? Like how long does the race last?
It's a good question. So it's a week of practice and then a week of different racing. The craziest one is the sidecar races.
Like they have a
Like
sidecar
they
on
have
the bike
two
itself?
guys on the bike.
What?
Two guys on the bike. The other guy is called the monkey, right?
Okay.
So basically the rider is riding and he's driving. And then the monkey is moving and being a human ballast and
Oh my
using
God.
and distributing his weight to give the motorcycle the most traction possible wherever it needs it throughout the course. It's psychotic. It's
That is
insane.
psychotic.
It's unhinged and it is beautiful.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is one, nothing I knew anything about, and then two, how the hell do they still do that today? Is the crazier part.
Stones, big balls.
Stones, big balls. Like Wipeout. Good night and big balls. That show rocks.
Man.
Did you ever watch it?
I was a Ninja Warrior guy. I was an OG Ninja Warrior guy. Like not the American Ninja Warrior TV show,
okay.
which was not as good. I'm talking dudes screaming in Japanese as people fall into mud. Oh. That shit was the greatest TV show ever and set the standard for those crazy competition shows. Shout out Daisuke Nakata. But yeah, I was an OG Ninja Warrior fan. Everything else paled in comparison to how good the original Ninja Warrior series was.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't watch any of the original one of that. I've seen a little bit of the American Ninja Warrior, but that one didn't hook me.
Not compare. It does not compare. Because the other thing that's really hype about it is you just have dudes screaming at the top of their lungs in Japanese.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea what's going on, but it's fucking hype.
Right.
So yeah, that show.
It's like a Spanish goal announcement on a soccer game.
You don't know what's happening, but you're hyped for whoever did.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like, oh shit, let's go. He did the thing.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Hell yeah. Well, cool. Anything else you want to cover here from the weekend?
No, we don't. The people don't need to know about how many wings we ate. We're good.
We ate a lot of wings, folks, and I don't regret a single second of it. If you're ever in Detroit, free shout out to Sweetwater Tavern.
We will do free shout out for Sweetwater Tavern. Absolute free advertising for them.
The best wings in the city. On their menu as of I think it was last year, it said they were ranked in the top 20 in the country as well.
Yeah,
so you are dealing with some really good wings. I know it's not Buffalo, but man, they're gonna give some of those places a run for their damn money because they're so good, amazing, right in the heart of downtown, within walking distance of the track, which is why we ended up consuming so many because it was right there. It'd be criminal not to eat them.
And it's so fucking good.
And they're just the best. I tell everybody about this. Now we're telling the world about this too. Shout out Sweetwater.
Shout out to Sweetwater. Shout out to Tiffany. We love you.
Hell yeah, Tiffany. Thanks for helping us out this weekend.
All right, man. Anything else? We good.
I think that wraps it up here for us. No race this weekend. But we are at where's our next track, Ben? Do you know?
Montreal. Baby.
Montreal. French Canadians. I like this track a lot.
That was racist as fuck, Derek. You need to.
Why? They're French Canadians. That's how they say it
right now.
What? I can't call them Hobby Boons then either.
That was even worse.
That's the name of their hockey team. They're the Montreal Canadiens. They're the Habs.
All right, whatever you say.
Don't make me start talking about some Canucks now.
I don't like you using made up words.
These are all very real. But no, shout out the Canadian Grand Prix. I like this race a lot. It's a very fun one. I think it breeds some pretty good racing. We're actually getting into a really good stretch of racing. So you got Canada, followed by Austria, then you go to Silverstone, then you go to Spa, and then the Hungaroring at the beginning of August. So
where is Zandvoort on there?
After the
December,
Hungaroring.
Hungaroring, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I always thought, because Spa used to fall on my birthday, and I was like, damn, we gotta go to
Not
Spa.
anymore. Birthday weekend is
Is Zandvoort?
no, it is Italy. It's Monza this
Not
year.
bad.
That's
Not
pretty.
bad.
Temple of Speed. Come on, that's a pretty good one.
We'll see
That
how
is a
Ferrari does.
fun track to drive in the video game. I love driving Monza in the video game. That one's great. Oh, that one's good. But yeah, no. Round 9 wraps up. We got a fun championship ahead of us still.
Yeah, and it's not over till it's over.
Not over till it's over. Alrighty, well with that, we'll see you next time, and I don't know when that's gonna be.
Definitely before Montreal.
Before Montreal, definitely.
Thanks for listening.